Hey everybody! Alright, today we're going to be drawing one of my favorite X-Men to draw, Cyclops. And I'm going to start this one like I start all my other videos. If you've watched any of those, I start with the head on my drawings. Alright, so we got this circle. I'm going to put a little line here for the center line to help line it up. And we're going to have the jaw line, the side of the face, the cheeks, the jaw line to the chin. Have this other line on the other side, and then we're going to bring that center line all the way down. Alright, and if you guys are drawing along with me, I would love for you to go check out the links in the description of this video to my social media, and if you post it online, please tag me in it because I'd love to see them. Alright, now back to this. The circle here normally would be where the ear would go, but since Cyclops has that visor, his ears are covered, but I'm putting this here to help me put my neck in. And so it's going to kind of come to this V, kind of like a triangle right here. And it's going to help me with where I'm going to place this center line for the chest. I'm going to start it right there, and now I'm going to come back and we're going to do the traps to connect to the shoulders. And this almost kind of makes like a diamond because you bring these shapes right here, these lines right here are the collarbones, and they kind of connect almost like a diamond. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and do the rest of the chest here. Got this side, another curve for this side. Then we're going to continue this center line down here and then bring it all the way down to the waist. Next, we're going to put in the rib cage. So on this side, it's going to kind of be like a little curve here, and it comes around here. I'm going to go ahead and throw the shoulder for the arm too. So the circle right here for the shoulder. And then the rib cage kind of comes around it's around your back, and it comes down right here. Now we're going to have lines on both sides for the coming down to the waist, and this is about where the belt's going to be right here. So let's just meet at this line, put the belt in, now come all the way down to the crotch. That center line coming all the way down. Okay, so now what we've got so far is we've got the upper body and the midsection all the way down to the crotch. Now before I go back to the arms, I'm going to keep going with the legs. So we're going to have this curve here to this point and then curve in, and we've only got about enough space to come to the knees. So then we're going to have this same curves come down here and do the same thing, and so this is about where the knee would be. Alright, so now on this side we're going to do different curves though, because this is kind of like a 3/4 view almost of this leg. And this one is going to be more of a frontal view, so we're going to have this curve to this point, about to the knee, and then you're going to, instead of doing the same curve like we did over here, we're going to do kind of a mirror of this. So we're going to come here and then come this way. So front view, it's more like this. Side view, 3/4 view, we've got curve here, curve here. Alright, so now let's go back up to this arm we started up here at the shoulder. So we're not going to add any of the muscles yet. This is just going to be the shapes right now. We'll do the muscles when we start to do the details. Alright, so we've got this cylinder right here. This is the upper arm. And now we're going to come down to the forearm. This is kind of about where the wrist is going to be. I have this curve right here, and it's going to kind of come all the way up here to the arm. But there's a curve right here because it's going to be bent. This is kind of part of the muscle of the forearm, and then we're going to have it rounded out over here. Then I'm going to put where the hand is, but we're not going to add the fingers in yet. And it's going to be kind of, think of this as like a square. It's like a 3D, and I got the square on the top. This is one side, another side, and the bottom side you can't see. Alright, so now this other arm is going to be a little trickier because it's bent up, and he's going to have his hand on the visor right here. So I'm going to start with this curve for the shoulder. And even though you're not going to be able to see it when we tighten it up and do all the details, I'm going to go ahead and put the bicep area of the arm and the tricep area. It's going to be right about here, and this is going to be about where the elbow is. We're going to put this big circle right here for the forearm, And this is a trick that I like to kind of use to do tougher positions for arms specifically, but any cylinders, you can do it for legs too, is just kind of do these curves to kind of give it some volume so you can kind of visualize the figure. Then we'll put the hand up there, and we'll tighten that up when we go back to do the details of the arm, but that's kind of just, you want to keep it loose and do those circle shapes to kind of get to where you're trying to get to with that shape. And he's going to have 2 fingers coming out on the visor. Remember, break it down for the fingers. You got the 3 knuckles. That'll help you keep it the right length. You can kind of see the thumb a little bit right there. Alright, so I got that hand. Now let's go back and do this other hand. So these fingers are going to be a little bit bigger because they're coming at you, but it's the same thing with the knuckles. Make sure you get your 3 spots. You got one right here, one right here, one right here. You know, do that with all of them just to make sure you do it right. And you know, sometimes depending on how the fingers are bent, some of them might be slightly obstructed, so you won't see all of it, but as long as you can kind of visually tell where it is, you can have your fingers lined up right. Show his thumb a little bit down here on the bottom side. Okay, so now we basically have the figure here. Next, we're going to go start adding the details, and I'm going to start with the face. So let's go up here, and we're going to do the visor. So we're going to start with this line across. You do these big curves on each side. And now I'm going to do like a little upside down V right here where the nose is going to be. And then from there you're going to take the end of each curve and draw a line connecting to that V. Now let's go ahead and you can kind of extend it a little bit into another point, like a little arrow to the side, and then a little curve right here for the nostril. And I do another little curve on the top of the nose right there. So now we got the nose in there. Alright, there's the little circle on the side over his ear. Now let's do the inside of the visor. It's the same shape, but it's just much smaller. So you do that line, you do a little curve on here, a little curve on here, and then you draw that bottom line all the way across. And then I'm going to shade it in with my red pencil. Alright, let's tighten up the face a little bit. Come down to the chin. There's part of his mask that goes right there and right there. We can go ahead and do his mouth. I'm going to do like a curve right here, and almost do like a little M. Do this line, straight line across, and then another curve right here, and have his teeth. So we've got a curve here, straight line, and then it's like a little M. Then we do a little line over here for his lip underneath. Alright, next, gonna move on to the hair. And by the way, if y'all are enjoying this video, please don't forget to hit the like button and comment and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And let me know in the comments if there are other characters you want to see or other topics on these videos you want me to cover. Alright, back to the hair. I like to draw on with like this little tuft of hair flipping out. I don't know why, I just do. But so here's kind of where I'm going to put the part. And I like to break the hair down into like sections. So like here's this one big section is one, and then he's gonna have this other one on the other side, but let's do this one first. So he's gonna have like some hair flipping out a little bit and put some lines in for details, maybe a few little tufts sticking out. Now let's go to the part, and it's like it's another big section. So they got one big section here and a second section here. Let's add some more lines in for the details. Then just put a little spot for the hairline underneath. Alright, so we got his hair. Now let's start adding the details of the costume. And remember I said we're going to do the muscles on this arm, so let's come back and do this first. Do this shoulder, we're going to darken up this line a little bit, now that we're comfortable with it. Do it the other side too. And next we're going to move on to the bicep tricep area of this arm. So there's going to be like a little curve kind of coming almost to a point right here. It's going to be a little lower than halfway, and the way that the arm is bent, it's being flexed, so that's why it's curved like that. The tricep's going to have like a little curve too, but it's going to be much higher, and it's not nearly as big. It's just like a smaller one. It's the same shape, but it's opposite direction. So let's do that right here, and then have this come down to the elbow. Let's put the forearm in there. Alright, so now let's start adding some details to this costume, and as we're adding the details, we're also going to tighten up the lines around here like we did with this arm. So let's start with this glove. We've just got these two curves for his glove, and he's got like these little flaps with buttons hanging off the side. So we got two of those. And now let's go ahead and add it to the other one as well. Let's go 1, 2. I'm going to draw them right there as well. Alright, I'm going to go ahead, while I'm up here, I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up too. Darken these up so you can see these lines better. Alright, so next I'm going to go down to the legs, and he's got like these little straps on his thighs that's curve here, and you got the curves on both ends. And the same thing, got another one right here, another one right here. I'm pretty sure he's got two on each leg. Hopefully. But you do the same thing on this other leg, curve, and then another one right underneath it, and then the curves on the ends. Commit to these lines on the legs. Alright, now I'm going to go to the belt, do the little X buckle he's got. Let's go to the corners and do your lines there, and then outline. Now Cyclops also usually has pouches, especially in the 90s. Everybody had pouches. Haven't mentioned, that's the costume that I'm basing this off of. I don't remember if I said that earlier or not, but this is based off the 90s or the Jim Lee costume design, however you think of it. And part of the reason that's my favorite is just it's so cool with the little 3-part chest strap across the side. That's one of my favorite elements of this costume, and that is what we're at now. So I'm going to start by lightly putting in the circle for that little X on his circle. I do it lightly because I just want to use it right now to place where I'm going to put the other straps. So now we're going to put a little rectangle here, a little rectangle here, and a rectangle here where all the belts are going to connect. I'm going to start with an angled line from both sides, and then just have it come up on across the shoulder. We're going to add some little details to them in a minute, but there's no set details you have to do with those. You could put more pouches, or you could just put little notches, or whatever you want to do. I'm probably just going to put some notches in there. Angled lines, bring it down to the belt. And then this one's a little trickier. You're going to start it the same way with the angled lines. And then I'm going to put almost like a little elbow piece, because it's going to have to come up this way. So I just like to have this like little connector part of the belt that makes it look like it, was straight and had to like do this little curve, kind of like a pipe or something. But I just like to do that because I think it looks cool. Alright, so now back to here. I'm going to put another circle inside, and I'm going to not do it directly in the middle inside because I want to kind of, the body's turned a little bit, so I want to kind of add a little depth to this. So I put it a little bit further this way, and I'm going to put his little X in there, kind of give it a little bit of an appearance of it's got some depth to it. Alright, now let's add a couple little notches on there, just give it some detail. Now, this is what I was talking about by doing notches. Sometimes I'll put like a little line across and then just like a little notch here. And you could put pouches if you want to, but I usually just stick to this. It gives it something to where it doesn't look extremely plain, but it's not too much detail. Do the same thing up there. Okay, so now we got that in there. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to add a little bit of ab muscles in there. I usually don't do too much ab detail with pencils. I try and do most of that with colors when I'm coloring. But you can just put little lines across like that. And so this is basically it. Here's Cyclops. And again, if you like the video, let me know in the comments. And let me know what else you guys want to see. Thanks for watching.